Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for episode 8 of Just One More Project Bag. I'm Dana of Unwind.
And I'm Tiffany, the Project Bag, and we're coming to you on this Thursday. Well, we're recording Thursday, the 8th of July, 2021.
Yes. And I'm
So,
going to do
welcome.
my very best to get this up today. So
Okay,
I'm going to try.
on your to-do list, your lengthy
Been
to-do list.
super busy. We've both had major haircuts since
did.
we recorded last. I've
funny
cut
what a month
5
can
inches
do.
off. You've cut way more than that. So
I've cut a lot of bulk.
we are fully rocking our summer hair. So
It's true.
yay us. So my cups are at unwindoriginals.com. I now have a domain.
Woohoo.
I know. And Color Street nail polish strips, if you're interested in trying some Color Street. I've got samples available. We'll talk about that at the end. Or Tiffany has a linked party always open in our show notes. You can shop through there and get her hostess rewards at the same time as you support my business. And we appreciate that.
We do. Thank you for anyone who's clicked through.
Yes.
The two ladies for this this current party. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And Tiffany has bags at theprojectbag.etsy.com. So party on. All right, well, let's start talking about stuff we are currently working on because we have been going a little bit long and we don't want to alienate anybody by going too long. So we're going to get right into it and try to keep this a little bit of a shorter one. So hopefully you don't have to split it into multiple viewing periods. So what are you working on, my dear?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I did rip out the pullover that I was debating about the last time, the center laces pullover. So that is no longer in the rotation. It is just a bunch of wound balls, cakes. So we'll see what I think I've pulled out another pattern for that already. So, but it's going to be a while before I'll feel good about touching that.
What is that, like sweater number 5 try or something from that yarn?
It's number 2, but I got a significant amount on both of them before I decided to. I've spent a lot of time with those balls of yarn. So anyway, great. I've gone with the February Lady sweater, which is one of my patterns, one of my bingo squares. So when I tried this on the other day, this marker is, I think it was like right at my bra line. So I feel like I'll probably go another 4 or 5 inches and then that'll be that for the length, other than the garter border at the bottom.
Excellent. What kind of sleeves are you going to do for that one?
I am debating. I haven't decided for sure. And then I kind of like it almost as a crop too.
Yeah.
But I set out with the intention of making it more for
like
a fall winter. Yes.
Yeah.
So I honestly am thinking maybe I'll do like a shorter sleeve, not quite a crop, but not too long either.
Okay.
But you know, that's to be decided. This yarn is just some Bernat satin, and the color is Bordeaux. And
is that one that you bought, or is that one that was part of that stash you inherited?
Yes, yeah, it was. I inherited it. I have four skeins of it, and I'm this far into skein number 2. So
you got plenty.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, I've got some options for the length of the sleeves to go from there. And it's in my campfire bag, how to build a campfire. I got this.
And I like that bag is so dark because you can't really get it dirty.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and even inside I did flames. So, but it's a good sweater size bag. So
excellent.
That's that. And what do you have? Because I've got one other thing.
Okay, well, I'm working on a new blanket. Yes, I'm actually in the middle of a granny square right now, which you'll see me looking down a lot more because I can knit without looking, but despite having crocheted for way longer, I cannot crochet without looking. It's just not part of my deal. So this is one of my squares. I've got one more row to go after that one, and then that square will be done. This is Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball, and it's very floppy now. But normally this yarn it's cotton acrylic and other fiber, which I don't know what other fiber it is, maybe nylon, I'm not sure.
Mystery.
But it's 481 yards of ball, and I've got 5 of them. And so far, I have 8 completed squares. And because it's a gradient, they're all just a little bit different. And my gauge is kind of all over the place because I'm not really a crocheter like all the time. So it depends on if I'm watching Yellowstone or if I'm watching Frasier, what kind of gauge I get. If I watch Yellowstone, the squares are much smaller. Just saying. But it's, a pretty it's kind of a nubby looking yarn. So it's got like a binder in it, and it's got the white. It's pretty. It's gonna be fun. I've got like 3 different colorways. So we're gonna see what it looks like. I have no plans to do a layout until I'm like, I've got a large stack. I'm gonna see what it looks like now. Like that's how I'm gonna do. That way I don't get like obsessed with how many I have left to go, because that's the part that defeats me with large projects, is having some sort of gauge of how much I have left to do. But it's just kind of fun. It's just kind of easy, and it's something that I can bang one of these out pretty fast. So kind of nice. So that's one of my 2. And go ahead and talk about your second one, then I'll talk about my second one.
And I lied. I forgot that I do have a third one. But okay, so the other thing that I'm kind of working on sometimes is another bingo square, and that was to spin and ply 2 braids of fiber. So I've started what will count towards my second. So this is just some alpaca.
Okay.
Lizzie got it for me from a local Southern Maryland alpaca farm.
Okay.
Many years ago, and so this is. I like it. I like the way it's spinning on my little nano here.
Yeah.
Because I tried spinning alpaca once before on my babe wheel, and
it's really easy to get it ropey.
That's exactly what was happening. So this is spinning it softer.
A little bit more.
So I think it'll be usable.
Yeah.
And the way the color is working up is,
it's pretty.
It's multicolored. So
very natural. I like
a little something.
Nice.
When I want to do something different.
Very fun.
And I upgraded the motor.
Okay. How difficult was that to do?
It was easy peasy.
Okay.
But I would recommend not losing the second screw, because despite how careful I thought I was being, somehow the second screw.
At some point, you and I may need to discuss this, because I don't use mine that much because I find it to be pretty weak. Of course, that's really not why I bought it, because I have the Hanson, but
yeah,
it's a lot better to take $100 wheel out and around than it is to take $1,000 wheel out and around.
That's true.
And I live in fear of something happening to that Hanson, because I know I couldn't afford to replace it. I mean, not at today's prices. I mean, even when I bought it, it was a big stretch, and that was my wedding gift from Chris. So I don't want anything to happen to it. So I really hesitate about ever taking that out. So yeah, we'll have to talk about that at some point, because I
did have to adjust the size of the hole that screws into the motor, because this motor is just a tad wider. But that was easy enough.
Fairly easy too.
No problem. Yes.
Nice.
No problem whatsoever. So yeah, that's just something different that
I need to get back to spinning. And like, I have 2 separate squares on my bingo card about spin 1 skein of yarn, and the stuff I've got on both the Hanson and the Susie are really fine projects, and I do not want to work on that with my knees being the way it is, especially on the Susie. So I guess I'll either have to take what's currently on the Hanson off and start something else, or I'm going to have to just bite the bullet and go ahead and finish whatever's on there. So we'll see what happens.
Do you have a lot of bobbins for your Hanson?
They had a deal a couple of months ago with Acreworks where they had like a grab bag. You couldn't control what color or spoke style it was, but they were just the Hanson bobbins, and they were on sale for cheaper because you couldn't pick.
Nice.
So I bought a couple of extras just so that I would have enough, because I keep thinking like at some point I'm finally going to get back to that baby Jacob and finish that sweater spin. And I want a lot more bobbins if I'm going to work on that in order for that process to be the way that I want it to be. So I just need to just pull something out and work on it, because I've got so much pretty fiber and I really just need to get to it. But like I said, having knee trouble. So not able to do as much on the
Yeah,
Susie,
don't
but
want to
the
tempt
Hanson,
it.
and then the Hanson, it's like finding a place to put it so that I can spin where the cat doesn't knock it off, the kid doesn't knock it off, the husband doesn't
Yeah.
knock it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah, it's finding the location. And I think if I could take the Nano out, I think it would probably be a little bit easier to deal with. So my next whip is, I can get this. This is my Meg. I've had this yarn for a year and a half. I bought it at Fiber in the Burrow in 2019, the last year they had it, which I did just find out they are having it again this fall. So that's exciting. But this is Cottage by Nutmeg Fibers. This is the pattern. This pattern was written for this yarn. It is a drop shoulder, boxy, kind of shapeless sweater, but it has a ton of texture. It's got cables, it's got lace. It's just fun. And it was the weirdest setup I've ever done on a sweater for me. Of course, I've knit sweaters, but I haven't knit like a ton of sweaters. I don't consider myself a sweater knitter, but you cast on right here at the top of the shoulder, Judy's Magic cast on, and you knit down until a certain point, and then you put it on waste yarn, and then you do it on the other side and do the same thing, and then you join the whole thing in the round, which is what happened where that neckline meets right down there, and then you knit the whole thing in the round from that point on.
I do like it. Like
It's gonna be a really cool looking, yeah, it's like it's floralish looking. It's got like these florets, and then it's got like leaves that go down, and then there's another flower below it with leaves that go down. So it's nice, and it's got, you know, a consistent increase pattern, so it's pretty easy to follow. I really like it. I mean, it's fun. It's to the point now where I'm having to, and I just got everything all tied up together. Both of my projects, they are just making friends now. Whoops, indeed. It's just getting to the point where I'm having to do increases at the same time as I follow a chart, and the increases are not as regular as they were. So it's a little more like I have to pay attention at this moment. So I haven't worked on it much in the last couple of days because I haven't had the bandwidth, but I'm looking forward to getting this done. And it's not a super huge amount of yarn either, but you do need something that's kind of woolen spun, more of a yarn mill, like a smaller yarn mill yarn, and not like a commercial yarn. It would probably work well in something like the Malabrigo singles, the original Malabrigo singles. Oh, the worsted. I don't think I would knit this with anything that was like densely worsted spun, because it's going to be a heavy sweater. It's going to be really heavy. But anyway, the pattern's linked in the show notes if you want to see what it's supposed to look like finished. But that yarn is, I bought that yarn lot at the same time as I bought the yarn I did Madeline's sweater I did for her fall pictures. So it's the same base, and it's just really nice. It's almost cottony feeling. It's a really nice yarn. And it was locally spun by Echo View
Fiber quantities out of your stash.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that one has just been like sitting there, and this has been something I've been wanting to do for a while. And I was talking to Chris about it, and he was like, well, why are you knitting a heavyweight sweater in July? I was like, because if I don't knit it now, I won't get it done to wear it. Like, if I'm going to knit full-blown sweaters, I almost have to knit them in the summer, or I don't get them done because I'm not a fast knitter anymore.
Right. Unless you're making them for the fall beyond the current.
Exactly. And that's just too far out for me to get really excited about doing it. So
yes,
not really my jam anymore. All right, well, that's it for what I'm working on. I'm working on 2 whole things, and that's it.
Woohoo.
I know, right?
Well, what I've got here in my hand was for, I had originally put it in the show notes the other day when we were going to originally record a couple days ago. Yeah. It was going to be my incoming, but I changed my mind and started it that afternoon. So this is another Hats for Kiddos. It's my last one. The pattern is the Aspen Ridge Hat by Tega Hilliard. and she was a longtime supporter of Into the Wool,
Yes.
and I like her patterns. This is not reading true to
It
color
looks
at
like
all.
owl
Turquoise.
cables.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
almost looks
You could
like owl
probably
cables.
easily put some eyes in there. And,
That's like the owl sweater. It has that cable.
Yeah.
People did put eyeballs on them.
I know, I know. And I think there's hat patterns written like that too. But
Yep.
This is, I'm aiming for about a toddler, maybe 3-4 year old size. So anyway, and this is Red Heart Shimmer, which was again part of that stash that I was gifted.
Working through that stash.
Yeah. And it's got a little bit of sparkle in it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody will love that.
Yes. So this is, like I said, this will be number 5 of so my last one to mark off another bingo square.
There you go.
I went to Daniela's group, and I don't see where she's yet put up any information about hats for kiddos for this year. But I still have 5 hats that I did last year, so I've got 10 to send them when and if they announce it.
I wish I'd known that. I saw her at my trunk show.
Well, I may be breezing through there sometime in September, so maybe I could meet up with her if nothing else. But like I said, I'm not for sure that they're doing it.
Well, I know that I talked to her and a couple of the other ladies, and they said that they were going to get a group together and come down to Crossville and come shop at the shop and then go across the street to the coffee shop and have lunch at some point. So if they do that and I'm available, I'm planning on going over there. So you can always send them to me and let me get them to her too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they can always use them. It's just whether or not she's up to coordinating it all this year. So no matter, they're not going to go bad. But like I said, I've held on to the other 5 all the way from last year.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just something, something fun and quick. And I was just going to do a plain hat, but I had this pattern queued for a while, so figured it.
Sometimes it's fun to mix it up and do something with some patterning.
Yeah.
Let the yarn not have to do the work for once,
Yeah, and this is a little, since it's a solid, it was a good one for this pattern.
Yeah.
So anyway, Aspen Ridge hat by Taya Hilliard.
Very nice.
So that's all I've got going.
Very nice. So concluded, I'm gonna have to stand up, aren't I? Finish the blanket, and you're not going to be able to see it all in one picture, I'm betting, but
you're gonna need all your muscles.
Yes. It is heavy. It is about the equivalent. I'm sitting here with it on my legs because it's kind of cold in my office. It's the equivalent of about, I can't remember what I think it's like 6 skeins of sock yarn, tripled. Maybe it's over 5,000 yards. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I started it in December of 2019 and finished it right at the end of June. So I'm proud of it. And it was like 6 years worth of sock yarn scraps. It's a lot of sock yarn out of my stash, which is amazing. I mean, I've got a lot left, but I immediately wanted to start another one. And then I was sitting there thinking, like, I honestly don't know if I have enough sock yarn scraps to make another one. I don't want to break into full skeins. That was not the point of it. I do have a lot of minis, but I don't really want to use all my minis in it either, because this was really like balls of scraps. It was like 25 grams of this, 30 grams of this. And it was like, I knew I didn't want to knit a pair of socks, or it was leftovers after I'd already knit me a pair of socks and Madeline a pair of socks. So I still had some left over, and it's like, well, I don't really want to do anything else with it. So, I'm glad that I did this with it, and it's really pretty. And that did not do it justice on the screen. Like, it is so much more vibrant in person, and there's already a picture up on Ravelry and everything if you want to go see it. But I'm really glad that I did it. The pattern that I used is no longer available, unfortunately. The person must have taken their blog down because it was on their blog. But if you're wanting to do a corner to corner, there are tons of different options on Ravelry, and there's a ton of free ones too. So I highly recommend it. It's fun, and it's nice because it's like the perfect size. When I'm in the recliner, it goes from toes to boobs. and that's the perfect size. Just enough warmth, and it's heavy without being.
It is a perfect size because then your hands.
Yeah, I can set my knitting or my crochet on top of it, and it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's a really great way to use up scraps. And you don't necessarily have to do, fingering weight tripled. You could do worsted weight left over from sweaters. You could do 2 sport weights. You could do a DK in a sport and just use the bigger hook. I will say magic knot is absolutely necessary with this if you're going to do it with scraps. Like, you don't want to be trying to weave in ends on this because that would be ridiculous. I just knotted a new one on as soon as the yarn ran out. I knotted a new one on and kept going, and that was it. So
I often forget about the magic knot. I almost exclusively rush and join everything, which is great, but then I always have to make sure I've got a darning needle.
Yeah, I didn't bother with that with this because I figured with it triple stranded, the chances of something coming untied are probably pretty slim.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I did it. I did leave my ends kind of long, and then I just went through and gave it a haircut. But I'm a fan of it, and it's very bright and cheerful, and yeah, I'm happy with the work that I did there. But that's all I finished. But heck, it's over 5,000 yards. I feel like that's a pretty decent finish.
Yes. And you've got it to use now, and
yes,
that's all those scraps out of your stash. So
exactly.
Win-win-win.
Yeah, I can actually like get the bin under the coffee table top without it catching because there's so much in there. So yeah.
Well, I only have one finish, and it is my 4th Hats for Kiddos. This is the
that's so cute
Little Fair Isle. The pattern's written by Pearl Soho, and it's free on their blog. And I've made it once before, but it's written for fingering, and I wanted it to be closer to a toddler size. Well, it finished out more like a 6-month baby size, I think.
Wow.
Just because it's worsted, and I guess I didn't cast on enough stitches, but whatever, it's going to fit somebody. But yeah, it was again another way to use up those scraps that I was gifted. And I honestly almost cast on my 5th one doing reversed colors.
That's so cute.
But I was kind of over the pattern.
I'm really impressed with your tension, considering that's acrylic, because acrylic is hard to block.
Thanks. Well, and maybe for this part of the, like this much of the hat, I was using DPNs, and then I found my circulars and I switched back over to circular.
I just finished my square.
Those are working up so pretty with that gradient.
I love it. Yeah, I'm into the part that I didn't get into at the beginning of the skein. There's no yellow in any of the other ones, so I'm finally starting to get into that yellow. So I'm excited about that. I'm just trying, it's just, I'm just at this point where I don't want to stress anymore. Like, I don't want stress surrounding my knitting. I am still working on Madeline's snowflake pullover, which I didn't put in the show notes because I've not done enough to really show anything. I'm going to have that for the fall. I'm knitting a sweater for me. I feel like I knit a lot of stuff for her, which she's very knit worthy, but our sweater wearing season is so short, and it almost feels like, I don't want to say performative, but it kind of feels performative that I knit all this stuff for her. She wears it maybe twice, and then it gets put up because it's too warm. So I don't know. And I'm like weird about sending her to school in hand knits, because I'm like, well, what if she puts ketchup all over it or colors all over herself with permanent marker? Because that kind of stuff still happens. I mean, she's going into 1st grade. So I don't know. It's a lot of work to put into something that's going to be worn a couple of times. So I'm just kind of doing some selfish crafting right now. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being selfish sometimes.
You saying that reminds me that actually I had my niece over last weekend, and I took her over to the playground, and I of course was knitting while I was over there. And she asked me something along the lines of how come I hadn't made her anything in a while, and I told her, I said, well, you acted funny the last time I made you socks. I said, so I decided I wasn't making you anything again for a while. And I said, would you like for me to make you something? And so, she's 6, so she's getting into that age. Well, she's 6.5 now, in the age of where maybe I should, consult with her. So she said, well, I don't really like the socks. But I said, well, what would you like for me to make you? She wants a vest. She's into vests. She was wearing a vest when she was here. So it was a cute little vest. She wore it over her t-shirt, but it had like fringe on it and stuff. So I might I might look into making her some kind of like cabled vest, or maybe I should include her in the decision and we just pick out a pattern together.
Yeah, I would show her maybe 3 options that I was willing to make. I wouldn't give her carte blanche, not at that age. That's asking for it. I still want to make there's one that I really want to make for Madeline, and I don't care if she likes it or not, but there's a vest that has a Russian nesting doll that's duplicate stitched on it, and I'm like, so basically it's just a stockinette vest, but then you could like do whatever picture you wanted on it, and I'm like, I think I that would be good. Although with her she'd want something like, I don't know, a dragon. Whatever, something very loud. It would have to be something that's loud.
I don't know, but you talking about knitting for Madeline reminded me of that, so I had kind of forgotten about it.
Yeah,
so that's an option maybe.
I mean, it isn't like I don't like knitting for my kid. It's just I feel like I go from one project for her to another project for her to another project for her, and I have such a limited amount of knitting time anymore. I kind of want to take some of that time back and do some stuff that I've been wanting to do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, truly.
You only get so many days under the sun, so
exactly,
might as well do what you want.
Yes, for sure.
Do you have an incoming?
I do. Okay. So Alicia Plummer released a new pattern that's kind of a take on an old pattern that she had. It's called the Fernwood, and it is a tank. The older pattern is a tank, and it's a bottom up with lace, and it's very simple. It's kind of boxy. So here, I can get my ring light to not be a jerk. Here we go. And then it's just a very basic, just the top is very simple.
Cute.
So I started looking around. I saw she put that one because she just released a sweater, like a full sweater that has the same motif. So she put that one on sale to commemorate the new one that's coming out. And I saw that one, and I've been wanting to make some sort of summer tank. I like summer sweaters. I like, lighter stuff. And I started looking at like yarn options, and they're universal yarn. Let me look at what exactly this is called. I'm totally ill prepared. I'm sorry.
When I was looking for a project recently, a lot of patterns that were coming up in my searches were ones from her. I like her design aesthetic.
I do too. And her size range is getting better. She used to make more for smaller bodies, and now she's starting to not just size up in the bust, but actually like adjust the whole sweater to where it looks better on larger people. And I'm grateful for that, because just sizing up in the bust is not the answer.
Doesn't help.
No, not really. Not when, you have a sway back or you have a short waist or whatever, because a lot of times they'll just increase the numbers all over the place. And then you've got a sweater that looks like a tent, and it's not attractive. Wearing clothes that are way too big for you, or just never, if you're a bigger person, it's just never an attractive look. But anyway, the yarn that I ended up getting was called Clean Cotton, and it was by Universal Yarns, and I bought it from Kaleidoscope Fibers online because they were just who had it available. Well, get this, got 6 skeins of it and shipping, $21.50.
You're not gonna beat that.
No, I know, it's awesome. And I just placed a Knit Picks order the other day for the first time in a very long time, because Knit Picks has up to 60% off of Sport and DK right now. So I got some sweater quantities. I got a sweater quantity of City Tweed DK, which is one of my absolute favorite sweater yarns. I have a sweater out of that. It's actually the Campside by Alicia Plummer.
Yeah.
I got a sweater quantity of that. I think I paid $26. It was so cheap.
Shoot.
I know. I bought like 2 sweater quantities for Madeline and 2 for me and paid $90, including everything, like out the door. And I was like, heck yeah, man. I mean, and I've not been buying yarn very much, pretty
Right.
rare. So,
Right.
you know, but I figure I've got all these sweater knitting plans. I might as well just go ahead and buy the stuff that I need
Have
for
the
it. And I
yarn
didn't
for it. Yeah.
exactly having a plan for the knit pick stuff, but I made sure I bought enough yardage where I would have enough to do whatever I wanted. So, but anyway, so the Fernwood, that's going to be a soon to be cast on. I don't know exactly how soon. I would like to make that to wear this year. I think it would be nice to have it for this summer.
Yeah, and it looks
And
like
it's
once you
only
got
July. We got 2.5
Yeah.
months of heat in Tennessee. I got plenty
Yeah.
of time, and it's not that much yardage. I think my size is like 500 and something yards. So I can surely knit that. That's like a pair and a half of socks.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's too complicated of a pattern that it should hold you
No,
up.
it's not. I'm not a huge bottom up fan because I don't like not being able to try things on as I go. Because lengthwise, I tend to like my things slightly longer than most designers tend to want, just because, you know, I've got a mom belly and I've got, you know, a butt, and I like both to be covered. Thank you. Like, I keep seeing this meme, and every time I see it, it makes me go, yeah, you tell them. But there's this meme that says, there's a dear designers and stores, there's a whole generation of ladies that still want the bottom half of the shirt.
Exactly.
I am in that club. I want the bottom half of the knitted garment as well. I don't really do crops, not with my body shape. So anyway, so that's my incoming. I'm trying not to think too far in the future, get too worked up. I've got to come up with something to deal with my hand knit socks because I washed them all the other day and put them all up. I literally cannot fit a single other pair in my drawer.
You can't make any more, or you got to get rid of some or something.
Well, what I keep thinking is I may put some up on Instagram and say, hey, if you're a size 8 or a 9, I'd love to pass these on to you because they're all in good shape. Because I have so many, I can't wear them fast enough to wear them out. And I also thought about having like my holy grail pair that were like really like things that I loved, ones that were gifted to me, whatever. I thought about getting one of those tie displays from Etsy that I sent to you a long time ago. It's like a shadow box that you put on the wall and it has little individual compartments and you can like roll ties up and put in it. Well, I thought it'd be great for hand knit socks. Definitely. So that would be pretty. Yeah. And then I could look at them and not feel guilty about not wearing them because then they'd be art.
Yeah. And if you so chose, you could put them on your feet on any given day.
Well, I mean, you know, there's a huge part of the year here where I'm barefoot. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm a redneck girl. I'm barefoot all the time. I'm barefoot right now. Like, I walk out to the mailbox. I don't put on shoes. That's just not who I am. I do if I'm going to go through the yard because I'm allergic to bees, but that's about it.
I can't stand to be barefoot. I mean, I don't mind flip-flops. I don't mind for my feet to be showing, but I have to have something on my feet at all times.
Oh, I just get so irritated if I have to put on shoes in the summer. I just get so irritated. I think it's just because of where I grew up because we were always barefoot outside.
Well, my mother is that way. I mean, hell, she walked down the aisle barefoot when she got married a couple weeks ago.
Yep. I was barefoot at my wedding. I did get married with shoes on, but I took my shoes off as soon as the reception started. Yeah. Chris gets irritated, but you know, that's just who I am. My kids,
it's who you are.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I think it's because my feet are always hot.
Right.
I just have hot feet. I don't know. Anyway, enough about my feet. But yeah, so I don't know. As far as things that are coming, I'm just trying not to get too worked up about like what's coming down the road. I do know that I need to continue my tradition of knitting her a sweater for her pictures, which her pictures will not be till the beginning of November. I've got plenty of time.
Yeah, got some time on that.
So I get to enjoy not having to have something on the needles right now. And I've started putting some stuff back towards the holidays. I've got some stuff in my drawer already, so that's a good thing.
Well, I have one thing incoming that I will likely cast on and maybe be finished by the time we record again. And again, it will satisfy another bingo. Oh, that was something I concluded that I forgot to talk about. I did finish a second bingo line, so now I have two.
Okay.
I can't remember something. Oh, I know. I'll talk about that in a bit. But anyway, so my incoming is a colorwork hat. That's one of my specific squares, was to make a colorwork hat.
Okay.
I'm going to be making the noon peak.
Okay.
It looks like this.
I love that.
It was a paid pattern, and it was written by Ursula Almeida.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be using the wildflowers leftovers that you sent
Aww.
me. And with some of this is leftovers from Willow Tree Yarns. I made some mitts, and it's the colorway is called Vintage Garden. So
that's going to be the black and white prettiest hat.
I've already worked out the color scheme. So yeah, I'm excited to get that cast on. So yeah, yeah. So that's my only incoming.
Super fun.
I like having a plan.
I keep wanting to I keep seeing things be like, oh, that'd be fun to make, or that'd be fun to make. And then I'm like, but I like what I'm working on now, and I don't want to cast on anything. Like, this is such an unusual time in my crafting career for me to just be like, I've got my small project, I've got my big project. I'm satisfied.
Something that'll, scratch every itch.
Yeah.
I don't do well if I don't have a plan of some sort or another. Then I get aimless, and then I get feeling just, blah. So I have to have at least something. I think that's why the bingo has been so good for me.
Yeah.
Because it gives me some options to pull from. Except it hasn't motivated me as much of my spinning as I'd hoped, but
I'm at about half my card is done. But with the way that I laid it out,
not bingo.
Haven't hit the bingo yet. I kept looking at it, and I kept looking at it, and I was gonna make changes, and then I'm really satisfied with what I've got on it. Like, I don't really want to. I just need to do it. It has zero to do with the fact that I'm not going to finish something on it. Like, my stuff is fairly simple. Make 3 gifts. I know I'm going to make 3 gifts. I'm going to make way more than 3 gifts. That's not going to be hard. I'm going to make a project of my choice. That's kind of everything.
Yeah.
Try a new craft or technique. I'm always trying new stuff. I'm always doing things that I haven't done before. I've never really been one of those people that gets intimidated by new techniques. I just like, oh, well, if I fail, I fail,
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting through that a little more. I guess one of the things, well, let me get back into show notes here. That way I can know exactly what I'm talking about. So Maker's Moment, I guess we'll just move into that. One of the things that I've been working on is finishing up that really big 4 Seasons tree diamond painting.
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten back into that, and that's been an UFO for a year and a half-ish. So that would be a square off of there, because that's a whip, any craft. So that'll be a good thing to get done. And I really want to get it done so that I can get the thing hung up, because it's a huge amount of work that I put into it. I just need to get it done. It's just kind of out of sight, out of mind with me with some of my crafting stuff. I've been making a whole bunch of custom cups. So something I have not talked about on here, I'm on TikTok now. I try to remember to post stuff. I'm kind of the worst, because it's all about like posting videos in the moment and then stitching them together and posting these fun videos with all this music and stuff. And I'm like, I'll post pictures to music, because that's like what I do, but I don't video myself doing my process on anything. And that's just kind of, I guess it came from being a dyer, and you don't show your process.
Proprietary.
Copy you. Yeah. Well, with cups is a different world because there are so many people showing how they do something, and then you take it and put your own spin on it. There's a lot less of overt, I'm going to copy you down to the exact die, the exact amount, and then try to sell it for $2 cheaper than you. People don't do that as much in the cup.
It's more of a springboard with the cup community.
Yeah, there's a lot more openness and sharing, and that I really love. Like, that is a good turn, because I always hated that about the dye community, because I would hate it when new dyers would be like, hey, will you help me with this? And I'm like, I worked for 10 years to develop my technique. I'm not going to give you the secrets to my income, you know. But with cups, it's a little different than that. So it's kind of nice. But I've been doing some new stuff. So these are not custom, but these are going to be going up early next week. So this is a peekaboo. Alcohol ink on the outside and glitter on the inside. I love that one. And then I am crazy about this one. So this is a wood grain.
Spectacular.
And I've got some other stuff. I've got a couple that are actually done that I can't take off the turner to show you because they're still curing. But I've got a hand done tie-dye burst, and I've done some glitter bursts where the center of the cup is one color glitter and it ombres out into another color. So I've got a couple of those. I'm planning on an update early next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. Depends on how soon I can get everything finished, because I'm trying to get stuff done. I've got Color Street Conference starting tomorrow, and I'm in meetings from noon tomorrow until 11 o'clock on Saturday night. So I'm going to be
all meetings all the time.
busy. Well, you know, I really don't mind, because it's, you know, once or twice a year we do something like this. And this year is weird because we had the option of doing virtual or in person, and
I didn't realize they were doing an in-person. I thought it was all virtual.
There's 18,000 of them down there right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just not ready for that. I'm not ready for that yet. And I didn't really want to fly yet. So we just decided that I was just going to stay home. And I think a couple of the girls that are local to me on my team, I think they're going to come over here and we're going to watch the presentations together on Saturday night. So that'll be fun. I was like, I've got a ton of wine and I can make appetizers and we can have fun. So I think they may come over since Chris and Madeline won't be here. Otherwise, I'm going to be upstairs in my jammies watching it because I don't have to be on screen. So it'll be fine. So I've got like all that. So I was just basically put a stop to anything else happening this weekend. Let's see other things. My garden is a jungle. Legit a jungle. I was actually griping to Chris. My tomatoes are 8 feet tall. Not even playing. 8 feet. I was griping to Chris about the fact.
Can you imagine if they were in the ground? They'd be like corn stalks, and you'd have to like a jungle.
I have to get in it to see. And I was telling Chris this morning, I'm eating my words. I was griping because these 2 tomato plants at the front, they didn't seem to be doing a lot. They seemed to be making a lot of leaves, and that was it. And I was like, those are ridiculous. They're not even making anything. Like, this is so dumb. Like, as soon as, you know, the grow season's starting to wind down, I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to use that space for something for fall. I'm going to dig them out. And he's like, okay, whatever you want to do. It's your garden. Well, then today I go pulling yellow leaves off the plants, and I start looking, and I'm like, what is that? And I get in there. In the center of both of these plants, they have a wad of tomatoes about this big, and it's just in the center, and they're all this big. And it's just
like, we've been here all along.
And I said, oh, I'm lying to you for nothing. I'm very sorry. But I'm getting about a pint of cherry tomatoes a day right now. We ended up with a quart in about 2.5 days. And so last night I made caprese salad from scratch, and it was wonderful. I used our tomatoes and our basil, and then I had some buffalo mozzarella, and then of course just balsamic glaze and olive oil and salt and pepper. It's a super easy thing to make. And Chris and I were like, I made chicken, and Chris said, I'm sorry, the chicken's good, but this is amazing. And I made this huge bowl, and I thought we'll have some left over.
When something's that good,
we had a quart of
no self-control.
We had a quart of tomatoes in one sitting. That's a lot of tomatoes, y'all. So much tomatoes. So we've been doing that. We've been getting cucumbers. I'm going to make fridge pickles.
Oh, fun.
I haven't made fridge pickles before. Erin, if you're watching, it's all your fault. My cousin is like, hey, you should try fridge pickles. Your cucumbers are enormous. You could probably get one out of a jar out of one of them, which is true. The cucumbers we're getting are like 13 inches long and they're huge. So,
well, their leaves were humongous.
Yeah, everything about these plants is bigger than it should be. And they're making a cucumber every 2 to 3 days. So we'll have to eat fast. So fortunately, I have a child who loves vegetables. So she sent me a link to making fridge pickles, which is super easy. And you just do a quart jar, which quart jars are actually hard to find. So I finally found some. I've got to go pick them up today. And you just put them in the fridge and they pickle for like 48 hours and they're ready to eat. So doing those.
Nice.
My bell peppers are producing. Chris actually had to stake them because there's so many peppers and they're so heavy, they're falling over. And then we're getting about 4 or 5 jalapenos a day. So I'm about to the point where I'm going to have to start sharing with people. Which,
well, yeah, that's good.
I like having stuff like that to share. Like that's like a good thing. That makes me feel good about myself. Like I'm giving somebody something that's healthy, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with us. And decluttering. I've just been decluttering. That's actually how I found my diamond painting that I'm going to start working on again. I found it while decluttering and I was like, oh, I forgot about you. Like I said, out of sight, out of mind. So gonna be working on that and still just working on like one area at a time. We've been working on the house like one small area at a time and dealing with it. So that's being very helpful. What about you? What you been doing or what your kiddos been doing or everybody?
Well, Kent is, despite the fact that they're not, the school's not in session right now. Of course, they still have things they do throughout the summer. So he's still working. His schedule changed not long after school let out. So that was good. Or just before school let out, I think. But anyway, that's actually better for me. I mean, it means I've got to get up and get out the door earlier. But anyway, so he's taken his funds and he just bought himself a very fancy new bike. And I mean, fancy. It's an electric bike. So it will go up to 45 miles an hour.
Oh my Lord. And he doesn't have to have a license for that?
No, it's all electric, which a couple months ago, he bought himself an electric scooter and he's been happy with that. But that's max speed is 18 miles an hour.
Oh, well.
And now that he's got the bike, he's like, well, Mom, you can use the scooter, which I've been using it a little bit anyway. So
that's fun.
And he and his dad have been going out every evening and doing bike rides around the neighborhood. And I don't think that Kent has actually pedaled once. He's just twisting that throttle.
Well, as long as Mike's pedaling.
Yeah. So
exercise in.
They did a ride last night across the highway. And yeah, I think Kent's all about that. So that's what he's been doing. And then my oldest, my brother and his family are in Pigeon Forge right now. And since my son's only a few hours away from there, he met up with them, had lunch, and then they stumbled across a Clint Black free concert. So he went and saw Clint Black with them.
Very
and
nice.
they were all tickled to find that. They were all avid country music fans. So that was on the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, that was nice. My sister-in-law sent me a picture and she's like, we're at a concert right now with your son. And, it's kind of like an us-y of all of them. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I was glad. They'd just seen each other all of them at the wedding. But, I was glad that they were able to meet up. He was able to meet with some family in his neck of the woods. So
yeah, for real. Well,
it doesn't happen too often.
Madeline is about to start swim lessons next week. I got her in, not at my Y that I go to because they are short on instructors. So it was going to be like the end of August before I could get her in. And the Y across town was like, we can get her in now. So it's going to be a little bit of a drive, but that's okay. we had her down for swim lessons last year, and then COVID, and they shut everything down, so she didn't get to do it. And we've been trying to teach her ourselves, and she's just really not listening all that well.
Yeah.
So we think having someone else teach her is going to be good. So she's got lessons a couple of days a week for the next couple of weeks, and we're hoping that that takes. And she lost her first tooth last week.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It had been her permanent tooth started coming in behind it. And I was a little nervous because I never dealt with any of that. And my mom works for an oral surgeon. So I sent her the picture and had her show it to him. I was like, is there anything I need to be worried about here? He's like, no, it's going to be fine. Baby tooth's going to come out. Everything will straighten out and be fine. And it already has. And she lost the tooth last Tuesday. So it's been a little bit over a week. And the big tooth's already in the right position and everything's good. So, but she's so proud of herself. And it had been like a thing. She'd really been stressing out because she was so worried that she'd not lost a tooth yet, because all of her friends have started losing teeth but her. So I'm glad she finally lost one so she'd relax a little bit. But yeah. And she's like me, she mainly smiles with the top half of her teeth showing, so you don't really see it now. No big gross hole, at least. But yeah, she's doing super well. Like everything's good. She's enjoying her summer program she's been going to. She's got a new little buddy. She made friends with the kid that lives 2 doors up. They're both at the program and they don't know each other because we all just hang out in our backyard. So now that's like her buddy she's with all day, every day. So that's been fun. It's like, well, at least you got to know a neighbor.
Yeah.
We just don't let her play in the front yard here because people drive way too fast through here. So it's safer. We have a fenced backyard. It's better back there. Anyway. So what you wearing on your nails?
Glitz and Glory.
I love that.
There's a glare, but anyway, yeah, it was actually I put them on. I don't remember what day it was, like Saturday maybe, but I need to change them again because I've had a growth spurt apparently. They're wearing well, but I've got some growth at the cuticle, so I think I'm going to change those out soon.
I'm wearing Main Squeeze this, and I just chopped my nails off, so forgive the stubbies, but they were really long at the 4th, and they weren't like snagging on stuff. But when I'm working on cups, just like when I was dyeing yarn, my nails can't be too long or they go through the end of my gloves, and then I might as well not wear any. So I tend to keep mine a little shorter. But this is Main Squeeze. This is one of the summer fruity ones, and we're supposed to have a July collection coming out in like a week.
Oh,
I think it's going to come out next week. It's going to be the official summer collection, so I don't know what's coming. I will find out Saturday. So exciting.
Cool.
I'll show previews if I can, if I'm allowed to. If not, I'll post them on Instagram on my Pampered Nails by Dana. And then I also post them on Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, or if you're in my VIP, you'll see them there. Let's see, in my ears. So between last time we recorded and now, I finished the entire Murder on Location series by Sarah Rosette. I've also listened to 22 more episodes of Small Town Murder. I've had AirPods in my ears nonstop. It's been crazy. So next up, I'm listening to Codex Alera by Jim Butcher, which is a fantasy. Jim Butcher's the one that wrote the Dresden Files, and this is like a fantasy series that has nothing to do with the Dresden series at all. I just love Jim Butcher, so I'm just gonna read that. I'm gonna give the first one a shot and see how it goes. I haven't started it yet. And then the Mom Zone series by Sarah Rosette is a 12-book series. It is not on Hoopla. I did find it out. It's on Hoopla, but it's ebooks.
Yeah.
So I may try to go to my library, sign up for my thing, and then let you have access.
I also have Overdrive, but I've not checked that. I mean, I erased the app ages ago because I was able to find so much on Hoopla, but I wonder if
they had Overdrive here, and Overdrive kept glitching. Like, I think they let their subscription lapse for a little bit, and then it just like never really acted right after that. So I ended up deleting it. But I'll be honest, you have to go yearly here and update your library card every year. And I didn't go last year because of COVID. So because you couldn't go in, and like the only way to get books or anything was to order them online. And I don't even think they were servicing the online programs during that period. So I'm going to have to actually go in now that the library's open.
Ours was offering during that time they were closed, offering you the option if you had to renew, you could do it online. I think you maybe took a picture of your ID or something like that
and like emailed it in or something,
or uploaded it along with your application or
they
something like that.
Bring a current utility bill here. Like
yeah,
you have to
ours
walk
is
in there, show them you live here, you know, and there's actually a charge for a library card in Chattanooga. Okay. It's low. It's like $5 a year, but in order for your library card to work, you have to pay.
Is that?
And then if you lose it, it's $5 more. And I'm just like, great.
Do you have, like, does Hamilton County have their own library system and Chattanooga has its own?
Well, Hamilton County, I say Chattanooga, they're all the Hamilton County, but they're just under the Chattanooga thing. But ours also includes Cleveland. It includes Soddy Daisy. It includes Whitwell. I mean, you can borrow books from any of them and they will bring them into your library. Like they drive vans back and forth. And then our downtown one, like they have a maker space. Like they have 3D printers you can sign up to use for free. Like they're really, it's a nice library system, but you know, and I've got one super close. I just, you know, they kept this one over here closed up until very recently. Like I think they're only open 2 days a week.
Oh.
Huh. Yeah. It makes me sad.
I have no idea what's going
library on to work there, because you know all those little kid programs that Madeline was in when she was little, they were all at this one over here. I hope all of that eventually comes back and is available again, because I don't think they're doing any of that right now.
Were they doing anything virtually during that time?
Not that I ever heard of. Huh. I mean, I follow the library on Facebook and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, we
and I get emails too.
Yeah, ours sends out an email digest once I don't know, however often it is. But I hadn't been doing anything with the library other than borrowing things through Hoopla, so I haven't even opened the emails in forever. We do have a mobile library as well. We always called it the bookmobile, but heaven forbid that's not PC anymore, apparently, because you're corrected. Now is the mobile library, which I don't understand how it's any different than that, honest to God. But
that's super weird.
Question these things. Well, I think because it includes more than just books, and they want to make that designation, because I believe there's also like there's a library. I mean, a computer station. And maybe they offer digital resources. I don't know what the difference is, but whatever. But it travels around to different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
In fact, my very first library card came from the bookmobile, because it used to come to the school right across the street from where I grew up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've never taken part in the mobile library just because my actual branch is so close.
They have one that comes to Madeline's school, and she has a Chattanooga Public Library card. So I think they consider the school libraries part of the library system, because that's what she uses to check out books at school.
Oh, wow.
But it can also be used at any of the branches. So they've like incorporated that in the last little bit, because I don't think it was always that way. But regardless, real quick, I have to talk about somebody that I found on TikTok, because I already told you about her, but I just got her book. So I'm actually reading a paper book right now. I'm so shocked. Her name is KC Davis, and she is a licensed therapist, and she has a TikTok account, and she also has a Instagram account. She also has a Facebook group, and her whole thing is struggle care, which is learning how to take care of yourself and those around you when you are struggling. Aren't we all occasionally having to do that? And this book is called How to Keep House While Drowning. And a lot of it is, I mean, it's cleaning tips, but a lot of it is learning how to let go of expectations of yourself, that somehow having a perfect house means that you are succeeding at life. And this is something I've always struggled with, because it was always a point of, I'm not going to call it shame, but it kind of was like, my paternal grandmother always gave my mom a lot of grief because the house wasn't spotless. My mom worked full time. She was a teacher. She didn't have time to keep a spotless house and still take care of me and cook and do laundry and everything else. And that is something I internalized. And that is something I've had a really hard time with as an adult. So finding her has been very timely for me because I'm trying to change the way that I treat myself and, stop with the self abuse of constantly telling myself that I'm not succeeding as a wife, as a mother, as an adult because my house is not perfect. So she's a really great resource. Her TikTok is domestic blisters, and I think her Instagram may be the same.
I don't know any premise of this book or anything like that, or if she addresses this, but I also do not see any problem with every member of the household contributing. Every person that lives in that house should have a job or multiple jobs, and it should not be left up to one person just because of their role in a traditional relationship.
But that was one of the things that she talks about in the book is as women's obligations outside of the home have grown in recent years, their obligations inside of the house are not being relieved by the other people that live with them. And there's still
depends on the household.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, there's still, and I can tell you that since my husband has been home since March of last year, he has started pulling his weight a lot more.
He sees
more. Yeah. He sees how hard it is to do both and to be everything to everybody. And he washes the dishes, he takes out the garbage all the time, he picks up, he vacuums, he mops, he does the things that need to be done because it really is everybody's responsibility to make sure that your home is, and that's the one thing she talks about is get rid of stuff that's going to cause bugs and then deal with clutter later, because clutter is morally neutral. Having clutter does not mean that you're not a good person. It does not mean that you're a bad mom or a bad wife. Having clutter means that you're blessed to have stuff. And then it either has a place to go or it doesn't. And then you have to make a decision on whether you're going to keep it and find a permanent place for it or whether you're going to get rid of it. And that's a morally neutral decision. It doesn't make you a bad person if you have clutter. And that's like, I know it sounds pretty simplistic, but it's something I've really struggled with like my whole adult life. So this really means a lot that I found this person at this point. And her Instagram is struggle care, or STRUGGLECARE, all one word. So, if that's something that you guys struggle with too, check her out. She's pretty awesome. Let's see what else we got to talk about today. You've been listening to all kinds of true crime.
Yes, all the ones I mentioned last time, and then several more, but two specifically that I wanted to bring up because, well, the one is very popular. It's been around a while, but one is pretty new. It only has, I think, 13 or 14 episodes. Okay. That one's called Muriel's Murders, and both of these are co-host situations. Muriel
is the woman's name Muriel?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. They live in the Pacific Northwest, and she's the true crime fan, and her husband is not. So each episode, she picks a story she thinks that he would like or get into, and she tells him the story. And I think he's starting to come around. But I like their rapport. She's a little bit theatrical, and I really enjoy that. And I like what he brings to the conversation too. So that one. And
are they audio?
They are, and it's roughly 45 minutes to an hour.
I don't know how I would handle a video true crime podcast because it's like,
yeah.
It's kind of sometimes. I guess I watch Discovery Plus, and those are video true crime things. But
yeah, I don't think I could handle. I can't watch true crime shows, but listening to them and creating my
apparently sleep to them.
Oh, well, yeah. No,
I go to sleep. Chris comes in there. He's like, you're wearing headphones, listening to things about people getting dismembered. Charles Manson's on the screen. You're just out like a light. He's like, do you have bad dreams? I was like, apparently I'm psycho because I don't. Either I'm just super desensitized. I prefer to think I'm just desensitized.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that both these accounts have Instagram. Well, actually, most of the ones I listen to have Instagram backup, so there are a few because they're not like traditional knitting podcasts. Like there's no show notes, or at least most of them don't have show notes that have accompanying pictures. But they do have Instagram where
I've
they'll
never
show a
looked
video, a
at a
picture or
single
something.
picture from a true crime podcast.
Huh.
I've never gone
I like
to
see
like
what
Small Town
these.
Murder. I've never gone to their site, not one time. I don't need to see what these people look like. I just
Well,
need it.
I listened to one last night that was blew my mind, and I look at these pictures of these people, and I'm like, they look like any other church couple from the 1980s with their, like their demeanor. It's just so wild to me. I mean, of course, everyone,
I have
you
one.
can't tell based on
you have
looks.
Discovery Plus?
No.
Okay.
We have the Discovery Channel.
Oh, okay. Well, the tape, Homicide Hunter with Detective Joe Kenda. He is my new favorite. You want to talk about theatrical? He's like if my husband did true crime. Like he's real serious, but the stuff he says, you can see in his eyes, like he's like, I'm totally screwing with you right now. Like he's so funny. I was watching one day, and he was Chris is in there with me, and he was like, I could watch this guy. He's funny. Like, and he's not like deliberately trying to be funny, I don't think. But he talks about it's all murders that have been solved. He was based out of Colorado, so there's like a lot of stuff. Apparently, there's a lot of people who kill each other in Colorado, a lot of people. And he was like, he said something about, I can't remember. There was one. He was like, I knew we had a real bad guy on our hands, and I needed to find him real bad. And it's just the way he said it. It was just like, yeah, you need to find him real bad. Of course you need to find him real bad. He's killing people. Like, what are you talking about, Joe Kenda?
So intense.
He is. He's extremely intense, and he looks like somebody's uncle, and he's got really big eyeballs. I love him. You should watch him. You would think he was really funny. I can tell already.
I'll have to check it out.
You would love him. He's my new favorite. Paulazon is very theatrical in like a way that kind of irritates me after a while, but Joe Kenda, I can watch Joe Kenda all day long. And there's a lot of seasons.
Oh, even better. So, well, sometimes I can also pull them up on Verizon On Demand too.
Oh, you should. Yeah, highly recommend him. Check him out. He's super funny.
The other one I found, they go back, I think they started in 2017 or something like that. So there's a lot of episodes. It's called Red Handed, and it's done by two gals from London. And they have really good rapport. They can argue each other's points really respectfully. They're a little bit dark humor, some cussing, and the one girl, I like her because they're open-minded, but they're also, well, she is anyway. They're both open-minded, but the one hostess is also not like worried about being too PC either. So I feel like
that helps when you're talking about crime, because crime really isn't PC.
Yeah, exactly. So I like them a lot. So they might be worth. Now some of these cases are starting to overlap since I've listened to so many different ones.
Yeah.
And so
Small Town Murder is like the one that I don't ever hear their cases anywhere else.
I've heard one or two of their cases now in different places, but that's one thing I remember James saying one time, that he tries really hard.
Well, it's probably people that have covered their cases since they covered them.
Yeah, it could be also.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has been a good find for me with these ladies.
Excellent.
The only thing is that most all the other ones I listen to at 2 times the speed. Because of their accents, I can only listen at 1.5. But I love their accents, especially the one. She's super posh. Like,
nice. We'll have to give that one a try. I'll have to try new ones. I'm only on episode. I'm finally about to that episode of Small Town Murder you told me to avoid.
Oh yeah,
I'm
one in
finally
Oklahoma. They're nuts.
Yeah,
although I'm starting to hear some that are just. I feel like every case I'm just like, who thinks of these things? Where did this come from?
I like the stupid criminal ones. Like I just listened to this one that was about this guy. Like he ended up like getting married 4 times and he hurt all 4 of his wives. And it's like, and he was honest about what he had done to the other ones when he met the later ones. And it's like, why would you marry
Yes.
somebody who told you that they
Yes. Did you
brutalized
think
somebody?
that you were going to be the one that
The
changed
one
so
that
much?
changed him. Exactly. Like somebody
Well,
got daddy issues, but you know, but yeah, it was I don't know. Last night's was really, I was sitting here putting on epoxy on cups going, good God, like have some self-preservation, people. I mean, come on.
I don't know. There's some different people out there in that world. But and one other thing I wanted to tell you real quick, I didn't put in the
Yeah.
show notes that I found a new book series on Hoopla.
Oh.
Now there's only 4 books, but it's a little bit like Daisy Dalrymple. It's called the Deadly Parker series.
Okay.
And it's the time frame is a little bit later than Daisy, but it is in the UK. Pretty sure that it's London based, but
Yeah.
I've only listened to the first book, but that might be something to look into. Kate Parker is the author, and then I'm pretty sure I've looked into her. I think she's got other series as well. So even once I wrap this up, then but it seems like there'll be more coming. They're just I'm finding them earlier than I find others.
Yeah, we still need recommendations, guys. If you know of any cozy mystery type stuff, that's Tiffany and my preferred genre for the most part. So let us know. Apparently, we just really like stories about people killing other people.
Because it's so far out of my realm of thought. Like I could never create, these situations. I don't think.
Yeah.
Not
we're getting kind of dark in our middle age. Okay, so announcements. We're gonna wrap it up here. Okay, so check out Tiffany's party link in the show notes if you're interested in purchasing some Color Street. There's also a link to request a free sample if you haven't yet. I'm happy to send one out. It does have to be a US address. We are not allowed to send Color Street outside the United States. So sorry about that. Anybody international? I also have a really awesome VIP group, and I'm looking to book some parties for this month and next month. So if anybody wants to earn some free stuff, let me know. We can have an hour.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, it's an hour of your time, and I send a really awesome hostess gift regardless of whether you make a single sale. So let's get some parties on the books. They're super fun. You'll have a good time, I promise.
Well, the other advantage too is that you get to introduce your friends to a product that they may or may not already know about and fall in love with, and then you've got something else that you and your friend may have in common.
Exactly. And we both really love it. I mean, obviously I sell it, but it's just so easy and it's so inexpensive, and you don't have to go to the salon to do it. And that's still even if you're not worried about coronavirus, you may be worried about not having the time to go sit in the salon for an hour. That's a sacrifice. So this, you can do these and go straight to bed. Not even kidding. That's actually my preferred method, is to put them on and then go to sleep. That way they cure down while I'm sleeping. It's the best thing ever. So little Amazon associates reminder, we haven't had anybody click through and use our links, so please click through and use our links. If you are if you're checking out our show notes and you have to make an Amazon purchase, try to remember to use our links. It doesn't cost you anything. It gives us a little bit of money that helps with mailing out prizes and stuff like that. And we're about to draw for some in a minute, so we're going to have some shipping costs incurred, so it would be a big help if you could help us out with that and just click through. You just click the Amazon Associates link in the show notes. It'll just take you to Amazon. You can make any purchase you want. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy what we've talked about, but it will help us out quite a bit. So thank you for that. You want to go ahead and do the drawing and then we'll talk about the last thing?
Yeah, I don't have a wheelie thing.
How many entries are there for the first one? Because I have a drawing thing on my phone.
Well, since each person got a different amount of
entries,
yeah. Do you want to? We can do this on a separate recording.
We can.
Can we just do that?
We can, or we'll just do the drawing and do the screenshot of what it came up with. We can just throw that in the show notes.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah, we can just throw that in the show notes.
We have to redraw for Q1 for the bag prize because that person didn't reach out. So, and then we have Q2, but I can give the stats for Q2 because I want to recognize the people that we had 8 participants, and Dana also participated. I didn't participate this time other than to frog something. I didn't even put that picture up, but we still managed with 9 total people, 10,592 yards.
That was almost half
knitted
that with
crocheted items. I know, right? Yeah. So that was still, there was quite a few garments that were finished this time.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good on you.
Awesome to see.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating. If you did, and if you didn't and you forgot to post your stuff, we're still doing it. We started a new quarter. There's threads up. Tiffany already started them. We're going to be giving away a skein of yarn and a project bag every quarter to people who participate. So yeah, easy peasy, and get some stuff off the needles for your needles up for fall knitting right now. It's a good idea.
Indeed. I do intend to participate more this next time, maybe. We'll see. We've got 3 months to think about it.
Yes. All right. Well, last but not least then, we have an announcement, and we will probably put this up on Ravelry as well, because we know that not everybody watches us, which makes us sad, but we do understand video podcasts aren't for everybody. We have made the decision that there will be no more Into the Wool Fiber Retreat. Some of you already know this because you've seen me and you asked me, and I was honest because I'm gonna be. But we just had like a really hard time the last couple of years. It has gotten harder and harder, and people have gotten meaner and meaner. And this past year, I mean, I've had issues off and on since the beginning of people insinuating negative things about me personally, about me as an organizer, about me as someone who was holding the purse strings to the retreat. People always found something to complain about, and most of the time it's stuff we have zero control over. The weather, we don't control that. The condition of the property, unfortunately, we don't control that either. The schedule, there's only so many hours in the day, and there's so many activities we were trying to fit in. The classes offered, we were limited by who was willing to teach and what they were willing to teach and how many people they were willing to teach. Roommates, did the best I could. It's really hard to make people happy. And when you're trying to put 60 to 80 to 90 people all in one place at one time and try to meet everybody's needs for a weekend, there's going to be some people who are going to be dissatisfied. But the personal attacks of the last 2 years on me in particular, and then Tiffany had her own situations to deal with, and I'll let her talk about her stuff in a minute. It's too much. It's too much. We started this to give ourselves an opportunity to, me and Brittany and Jess Cook started this as a way to give ourselves, make an opportunity for people who could not go to one of the big retreats to have a retreat to go to in this area. We were trying to keep it low cost. We were trying to keep it low key and fun. And unfortunately, people got in the way. And it's just gotten to the point where my resentment against the retreat has built to the point where I cannot stomach it anymore. I'm not getting paid for my time, and my time is really limited. It puts strain on Tiffany and my friendship. It puts strain on both of our marriages and our relationships with our family members, because we were devoting a lot of time to this. And we had some people be very thankful, and then there were some people, no matter what we did, we were always getting griped at. And sorry, but it's to the point where the bad outweighs the good, and we're just done. So
yeah, it's become a hassle, and
yeah,
it's just time.
And with me not dyeing yarn anymore, I literally have no way to make money off the event now. So if I can't pay myself a salary and I'm not working, I'm not vending the market, then I'm not going to be devoting 400 and something hours of my life to it. I have other ways I can spend my time that will better let me provide for my family and have some sanity. So, you know.
Yeah, it was, for my end of things, it was just getting too hard as well to find. Return sponsors were less likely to come back just because they hadn't seen a lot of return for their investment. Mm-hmm. Over the last couple of years, we had events and things like that. And, you know, we always were upfront that you weren't required to do anything other than to show up for the retreat. But if we didn't have anything financial to offer our sponsors in return, then it wasn't worth their investment. So, and this past time especially was just, you know, it was too hard. Yeah. Yeah, so,
and we understand that last year was COVID. You know, we're not blind to the fact that last year was weird because of COVID. But last year was like pulling teeth to get anything done. And we were both under extreme amounts of stress. And then to be treated the way that we were by people, and those people know who they are. You know, if you're watching this and you know that you were nice, then we're not talking to you. And the people who weren't nice are probably not watching this. So most likely, if you're watching this, we're not talking to you. But, you know, there are just some people that just are never happy. Doesn't matter what happens, they're never happy. And they took that out on us, and that's not fair. So
it makes me sad because a lot of my knitting friends, in fact, all of my knitting friends, came as a result of this retreat.
Well, we wouldn't have met if it hadn't been for the retreat.
Right. But I think it's just time.
Yeah. And you know, and we are excited about the opportunity to be attendees somewhere. I have never been an attendee at a knitting retreat where I was not vending, ever. So I look forward to that. I'm already looking into which ones I want to go to. I'm, you know, we've got a couple picked out that we're interested in exploring the idea of doing them. I've already been contacted by somebody who's interested in doing one in Middle Tennessee, especially now that they found out that I'm not going to be doing Into the Wool anymore because they didn't want to step on my toes. Now they're interested in doing one. So once that gets flushed out, we'll share the information with you guys, you know, and we'll let you know which ones we've picked that we want to go to and what we're planning on doing with our time. But I'm looking forward to being a civilian and not having to be in charge and getting to just show up and knit and enjoy my friends and not stress out and meet new people and not be vending. Like that's another huge part of it for me, is not doing that anymore. And are we going to miss seeing our friends? Of course we are. And we knew doing this, and it was the hardest part about making the decision not to do it anymore, is we knew that some people we will not see because we're not doing this. But it wasn't that we don't love them, but we cannot justify the amount of work and time involved just so we can get together with our friends, because we know that there's other ways for us to get together with our friends.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit hard too to not go to Lake Francis every September, because pulling up in that driveway was almost like coming home.
It was,
but there will be more opportunities.
This past year it was not. And that right there was my clue. I knew last year that it was it, because I didn't want to leave my house the day we left to go up there. And that is the very first time I have ever felt that way, including the first year I left my child. That was the first time I'd left my child to go somewhere without her. And I wasn't even dreading going that year, but I did this past year. So, and, you know, and I'm not just saying like, it's just the people that attended the retreat that were the problem. And this is nothing I haven't said to them myself. Lake Francis was also a huge problem. They were inconsistent with what they told us. They would change things on us last minute. We were forced to be flexible in ways that we should not have had to be, considering we were paying quite a bit of money to be there. You know, there was inconsistency after the cafeteria lady left. There was inconsistency with the food this past year that we've never had to deal with. You know, we were made promises in the past couple of years that were never kept. Additional fees were tacked on, like, you know, we just weren't feeling like we were appreciated, we were respected, that they respected the fact that we had a signed contract with them. And, you know, I don't want to get to the point where I have to get an attorney involved in order to get what we're paying for. And it was getting to that point. So
it just wasn't the same event that.
No, and their management team has turned over a couple of times, and we don't have the relationship with the new one that we had with the original one, because the original one, we were the very first non-gymnastics group, other than like church youth groups, that had ever used their property. So we were a guinea pig for them in every single way. And then once that team left and the new team took over, with the exception of a couple of people who stayed on that were like the voices of reason in this whole thing, we just had a really hard time. So, you know, we're sad about it, and it's hard, but I will honestly tell you that this spring was the most relaxed and low stress spring, because of the not having the additional stress of planning this, that I have had since we started. And that was when she and I started talking about the fact that we just probably think that it's over, because we were both happier without it.
Yep. I'm going to take a lot of good memories and some great pictures and some great friends and just close the chapter.
Yep. But, you know, that's why we're still doing a podcast. We're still going to be seeing each other. We're still going to be going to events. And as things open back up and there's more events available, we're going to hopefully be getting a chance to travel and go do some fun stuff that we probably wouldn't have been able to do if we'd still been doing Into the Wool. So we're looking forward to it. And we hope you guys understand, but this is just the way it is at this point.
Yep.
So long, and thanks for all the fish. to quote the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But anyway, so that's pretty much the end of it. Sorry to end on a sad note, but you know, we would not be fair if we were not being honest, because we've been starting to get a lot of questions.
Yeah, so spread the word for us, please.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to put it out there on social media, but you know,
if
you hear someone or have someone that questions you or whatever, just
I'm probably going to have to do like an Instagram announcement, because that's how everybody's going to see it. Although they didn't see the one saying there wasn't one this year, and I still get people at least once a week being like, hey, where do I sign up? And it's like, not happening. I don't know where else to put this. And for the time being, we're going to leave the Ravelry group open in case you want to see it. But eventually at some point, we'll probably archive it, because we're not going to answer questions about this forever. Probably another year, and then it will be gone. So if there's any pictures you loved from it that you didn't already download, go slurp those. Get them. That way they don't go away on you. But anywho, all right. Well, have a wonderful month of July. We're grateful for your viewership and for your support. And we will post in the group. We'll post the results of the 2 drawings for quarter 1 and quarter 2. So
and
bolo
out your projects for quarter 3, or start thinking about them or whatever. Any WIP you got started prior to 2020 counts.
2021. It has to be before January 1st. It doesn't matter if it was December 31st at 11 o'clock at night. Doesn't matter. It counts.
Yep, it counts. So give you something, you know, some aim as to what you might work on next. So alrighty. Well, it looks like it hasn't started to rain yet. We're in the path of some kind of possible.
It missed us. It went south and then went up through Georgia into South Carolina. So we got like less than 1/10 of an inch yesterday. And I was so mad because I hadn't watered my plants, and then they were all mad.
I didn't water mine this morning because I expected it to be raining well before now.
Yeah, they said like at 2 o'clock today we might have like a 30% chance of getting like 1/10 of an inch, and I was like, fine, I'm watering this morning because I don't want everybody to be like out there, because that's what they do by 3 o'clock. If they haven't had water in the morning and it hasn't rained, they're like mad. They're so spoiled. Like, I'm droopy. Help me.
Well, we are under the potential 2 to 3 inches, so I held off on watering just because, yeah, it's weird because certain parts of the state maybe you're looking at tropical storm effects. Some of them are under possible tornado watches. Like,
My
what the heck is going on
mercy.
here?
My mercy. Well,
So, anyway.
hopefully you just get enough rain to give it a good soak for everybody's gardens benefit and everybody's flowers
Yes.
benefit, and
Yeah,
no damage and no nonsense.
it'll be fine. I'll be inside.
I'm a little bit worried about all my Color Street girls that I know that are headed down to Orlando who are like having to go through the path of all that mess. It's bad. So, yeesh.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up and
Yes.
take it from here since you've got such a busy rest of the week.
So tired. And it's only Thursday. And
Right.
it's
Well, take you a nap.
crazy. Yeah, I'll have to. I've almost finished another square while you've been sitting.
Yeah, I've added some length to my head.
We both got a lot done. Yeah, I'm on my last round on this square. I'm pretty excited about it. And my thing is very floppy. It's not it's so floppy. It isn't even a mouth at this point. It's just floppy.
That's a lot of yardage.
It is almost 500 yards per. I mean, that's a decent amount. Of course, crochet eats it up, but fine. All right, we're just blathering. I'll see you
later. Y'all. Take care,
guys.
Bye.